Alright, this time we're going to talk about audition prep things. This is probably something we hadn't gotten to in class, just because it's kind of an end of the year thing to talk about, really. But basically, whenever you go in and do auditions, whether it be for summer band camps, whether it be for honor bands, whether it be for your own high school band, generally, there's a certain procedure we're going to follow. And there's a certain order you're generally going to play things. First thing you're going to start with is generally rudiments. Okay? Generally rudiments, because when I see you play your rudiments, I pretty much know everything I'll need to know about the audition. So it's really, really important that we do rudiments very, very well. So, the way we would play our rudiment for an audition, let's say we're asked to play long roll. Okay, long roll being just a double stroke roll, non-stop, just a straight double stroke roll. Okay, with no breaks or taps in between. So, if I'm asked to play long roll for an audition, so we're going to start slow. We're going to speed up to my predetermined maximum, which I'm going to set right now as this. Okay, that's going to be the fastest I'm going to go. And another thing to think about, because it's going to be very, very clear with a long roll, is we want our dynamics to stay consistent. Consistent the whole way through. I don't want to start here and play really loud while it's really slow and do this whenever I'm playing fast. Okay, we want the dynamics to be the same. So if I start here, way up high, I'm going to have to stick with that dynamic even when I'm playing fast, which is not something that I want to do. So make sure we keep a nice balanced mezzo forte dynamic from the beginning. And that takes control. It takes control in the hands, and it takes control up here. Okay, you got to think and make your hands do what you want them to do. Okay, at this point you would be usually asked to play a prepared piece, which is something you've prepared on your own. It's been given to you way in advance. You've learned it. You would perform that here. The next thing we're going to jump to is sight reading. So sight reading generally goes something like this. You'll walk up to the stand. It'll have a sheet of paper turned upside down. The music's on the other side. And the judge will say to turn it over when you're ready. And as soon as you turn it over, they're going to start the time. So when they start the time, that's it. That's the beginning. You're going to start looking for everything you're going to need to see. So, a procedure is very handy in this sense. First thing you're looking for, time signature. Okay, time. You got to know what time signature you're playing in. Are you playing a 3/4, 4/4, 6/8, 7/8? You know, they may throw something weird at you to see what you can handle. You never know what's going to be on the other side of that sheet of paper, but you've got to be ready for it. So the first thing you look for is time signature. Second thing you look for is a tempo marking. Are they telling you how fast to play, or are they leaving it up to you? Okay, you've got to be ready again for either one. So, identifying the time signature and the tempo should only take about 5 seconds. That leaves us a good bit of time to actually get the meat of the sight reading in. Okay, the next thing we're going to have to do is skim through really fast, look through all the rhythms. I'm looking for syncopated rhythms, fast rhythms, weird rhythms, you know, things that are going to make me mess up. My goal for looking through the rhythms is to see where I think I'm going to mess up so I can avoid doing it. Okay, when you're going through the rhythms, count through them in your head. Okay, you can count through them. You can kind of do this little number on your arms with your sticks here. You can pat on your leg. but you can't hit the drum. You can't do this. You can't play on the rim. But anything else is pretty much fair game. Okay? But do something to get through the rhythms and make sure you know what's going on. Okay, from there, the next thing we do is we'll look for any accents, diddles, anything of that nature, buzz rolls, things that would change the way we would play a rhythm. Right? So an accent, we're going to make that louder. Okay, a slash, we're going to make that a double. If you see the slash on a note, that's a double stroke roll. You need to go through and look for any of those things because those, to me, are part of the rhythm. The biggest thing I'm looking for here is the rhythm. Do you play the rhythm right? Because that's the first thing that I'm going to notice, and that's where I'm going to mark the most points off, is if you play rhythms wrong. And in my mind, I count a diddle, a slash like that, as part of the rhythm. So make sure we go through and we get all those things in. The last thing we're looking for is the dynamics. Okay, make sure you're playing soft when you're supposed to play soft, loud when you're supposed to play loud, and make sure you move between the two if you have a crescendo or a decrescendo. So to me, the best way to get through this and to test the procedure and really see how it works is to just do it. So I'm fixing to set a timer for a minute, and I'm going to flip the piece of paper, and we're going to go through this. And let's start. First thing I noticed, we are in 4/4 time signature. We're at 110 beats a minute. That's about here. Okay, going through the rhythms, I see syncopation in measure 1 and 2. 1, 2, and 4. 1 and, 2 and, 3 and. Okay, that rhythm can very easily mess us up if we're not paying attention to it. Okay, from there, starting back in measure 3, we have 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1 and 2 and a 3 and a 4 and 1. Okay, going back looking for accents and diddles and things, we have accents on all those quarter notes in the first measure. 1, 2, and 4. Okay, we have an accent on the and of 3 in the next measure. In measure 3, we have an accent on 1 and 4. And then measure 3, or count 3 there, we have double strokes. We have diddles on that. And then we end with an accent. Last thing we're looking at is dynamics. First measure is loud. In measure 2, we drop down really soft. Measure 3, we come up to a normal dynamic. And then we crescendo to the last note. Okay? And that's all of our minute. All right, let's try this. Here we go. And that'll do it. So, hopefully you will be practicing these things and keep this in mind when you go into an audition. Having a procedure to everything you do will make or break your audition. Having a procedure to sight reading will make or break your sight reading. And sight reading is huge. Okay, when you go into your auditions, generally sight reading and the prepared piece get the same amount of points. So I may say that your prepared piece is worth 50 points of your audition, and your sight reading is worth another 50 points of your audition, and rudiments are worth, say, 20. Okay, so your total audition, you get 120 points there, and sight reading would potentially be 50 of them. So this is very important. I know that sight reading is something that we don't often like to practice. It can be kind of scary to us. We often feel like we're not good at it. But sight reading is something that needs to be practiced. And sight reading is one of the most important skills that you can develop as a musician. The ability to read and play music in real time is priceless. And it's something that we need to develop. That way, when we're in marching band even, and we're giving our show music, we can all just read it together. And we don't have to go back and do measure, you know, it's every measure individually and slow things down to a annoying degree. If we can read and we can play and we can get that starting point, that's going to make our lives so much better. I cannot stress the importance of sight reading enough. Practice sight reading. Again, I'm going to put a little QR link here. I have a packet that I use in my class. It's some stuff that I've written. It's just a bunch of sight reading things. I'm going to put a download link in the video for that. If you want to get it, again, use a QR scanner and scan a little code that's popping up somewhere around here, and you'll get the link to that. There's a lot of stuff in here. It's going to start really easy, using nothing but quarter notes and quarter rests, and it'll go all the way up to some pretty intense stuff. This would work from anyone from beginning band just starting up to senior about to graduate. It's a very wide range of material, and it gets harder as it goes along. Definitely grab that thing. It's just there for you. If you don't want it, that's fine. If you want it, it's free. It's just stuff for you to have. And read. Guys, read and play as much as you can. Till next time.